Well, and let's talk about the opposite end of that, which has become the fad. I think the Tampa Bay Rays, the Houston Astros are the two teams that have done this as good, if not better, than anybody in identifying these guys like Alex Bregman, like Isaac Paredes, like these guys that can pull a baseball and keep it fair, right? So then when we look at the confines of a field, never have I ever been to a base. Actually, I say that and forget I coached in the CAC. Never mind, scratch that. Never have I seen a professional baseball field where it's further to left than it is to center, right? So let's just put that out there. I have seen fields that are like that. And what these guys that have less bat speed are able to do than comparatively to a Yandy Diaz is hit the ball to their pull side or the opposite field, right? Because it's also 330 down the right field line. But more times than not, it's a lot easier to hit it to the pull side, but not hook it foul, not hit it on the ground, as you say. That's Anthony Volpe's problem, not to get into a deep dive of Anthony Volpe, but Anthony Volpe's problem is not necessarily that he pulls the ball too much, contrary to what Foul Territory will tell you or what anybody who thinks they know anything about the Yankees player development will tell you. His problem is that when he does pull the ball, it's on the ground. Alex Bregman has made a great shift to Fenway Park and the Boston Red Sox, and he's had an MVP caliber year after signing as a free agent. Why? It's 310 down the line, and all he has to do is hit it high enough and far enough to get out there. Jose Altuve, why has he been a good player in the second half of his career? Well, as his exit velocities have gone down, the Crawford boxes still look fine and pretty to him. And he just goes, I'm just going to buggy whip these balls down the line, keep them fair, which is a very important piece because that's another conversation that we could probably go an hour on, is the pull fly ball narrative and the conversation around practicing that versus the actuality of executing it. Is pull the ball, pull it in the air, not at 97 miles per hour every time. If you can get there, great. But all you have to do is hit it low 90s consistently at a 25-degree launch angle, keep it fair when you do get it. And next thing you know, you have guys like Alex Bregman with less bat speed that are MVP caliber 30 to 40 home run guys because they play in friendly confines to their skill set. And they know, I don't have to hit this ball 400 feet dead center. There are guys that can do it, right? Judge can do it. Soto can do it. Schwarber can do it. Pete Alonso can do it, right? Those guys are unicorns. They're beasts.
Mookie
When they
Betts.
get, yeah, right? All those guys. So those guys that can go big part, right, and do it consistently, that's a lot harder. But when you have these guys that can make efficient moves, hit those balls down the pool side, keep them fair but high enough to get out, they're better players than even guys that, have better exit velocity numbers, but consistently fly out to center, right? That's been again, this is a rabbit hole that I'll try to cut off and make this as concise, the short version, the expected slugging stats. Well, if a guy hits a lot of balls to center field, his expected slugging stats, hard fly balls to center field, his expected slugging stats are going to be higher than a Jose Altuve or an Alex Bregman, right? Why? Because all expected stats are is how hard do you hit it, how high do you hit it, and how often does that fall for a hit in Major League history with all these data points we have. Well, 380 to center field is different than 380 to left field. Guys that can hit the ball to 380 to left, that's a skill. That's a developed skill as well. So we can almost outperform our expected stats. Some of these guys that hit a lot of hard balls to center field, they are going to underperform because that's a big graveyard in center field at most places.
Yeah, and again, like to your point there, even more concise, it's like that's why like there are guys who can have lesser bat speed and be great. Paul Goldschmidt, right? Like Paul Goldschmidt was never a bat speed leader, right? And isn't he the guy that you said he trained bat speed and his numbers went the opposite way? Because
he came off of MVP in St. Louis, or MVP caliber year. Spent all offseason, again, 33-year-old guy. He went and he got bat speed training and specifically improved in that department, and his numbers went to crap.
Yeah, like because there's just some guys, again, like, are you built for that? And like, you don't have to be. Like, you can be a really good hitter, as you mentioned, guys like Bregman, who's like, again, in MVP discussions, 30, 40 to homers, and he's not a bat speed guy. Like he that's not what his skill set is. That's not what his build is, his archetype. I don't even know how to say that word, if you will. But it's important, just like velocity is. you don't need to be in the 99th percentile or in the upper percentiles to be one of the better hitters, because there's so much more to it. And the swing is so complex. I mean, that's what the hard part is like there are so many different ways to train as well, which we've hit on a little bit a couple episodes ago. Is like, just like, how are you training it? Are you training it the right way? Are you training the way you need to train for your specific skill set? And, you know, that's my thing, is like, how, if you were to ask me, someone who's never been a hitting coach, how would you get more bat speed? I'd be like, get in the weight room, because
Yes.
the important, again, to me, the golden thing about this is like the efficiency of the move that leads to the bat speed. So like, if you're a beast in the weight room, typically you can be an efficient mover with bat speed and have repeatability because your body can handle it.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I mean, we did this together, but we built in an off-season bat speed program. I built one out. And the thing that I made sure to have is we had super speed sluggers and feedback, and we told those guys to chase numbers there. But you know what we also did in those time frames? Offset flips, light bat, heavy bat, forcing adjustability and things like that. So while at one station
Single
they're
leg med
chasing,
ball,
yeah,
med
right,
ball rotations, yeah.
exactly. So at one station we're chasing building that engine, but at the next we're tracing it in an efficient way. And that brings me to probably the conclusion of this conversation as we try to wrap this up here around 45 minutes. Is the most important thing to me is the reason I'm quote unquote lean anti bat speed training is because if you chase the results, no different than if you just chase the results of velocity or just chase the results of exit velocity, if you just chase the results of improving your bat speed, and that is your main goal each and every time you train, you are going to put your body in inefficient positions to hit, right? Because there's ultimately the variable that from a front toss, or even when we know a fastball is coming, that this thing moves at different speeds in different locations in different directions, right? And when we get into games, if we spend all off season training or all of our training at the time to chase bat speed, to chase exit velocity, to chase all these things, we're putting ourselves in an inefficient position to hit, right? And I think that brings me back to the Goldschmidt point is I don't know this for certain. I don't have video evidence. We could bear down on it if we really, really wanted to. I guarantee as he went through bat speed training and did it in an unnatural way as a 32 guy who intentionally was increasing his intent and increasing his ability to rotate, I guarantee his posture was out of whack. I guarantee his top spin percentage to the pull side was up. I guarantee his ground ball percentage was up. I guarantee his hooked home run rate was up. And these are all things that I've seen, because what was he doing? He was chasing a result of bat speed instead of a result of how can I create the most force and bat speed while also being efficient at contact point and the ability to backspin a baseball. So that's my cautionary tale to anybody who wants to train or coach bat speed specifically, is let's make sure we do it in the confines of still being able to create adjustability, repeatability in the swing, efficient manner to backspin baseballs and keep them fair, so that when we do flush a baseball, it's not crushed into section 106 behind the third base dugout. Congratulations. All that is a strike. That's it. At the end of the day, a 110 mile per hour foul home run that went 450 feet is a strike. And the pitcher gets the ball back and he's 0-1, right? And I used to tell our hitters that all the time at Arcadia. There ain't nothing good about a hard hit foul ball, because it's controllable, it's teachable, we can fix that. And if we're in a good position at contact point, it won't happen. It won't happen. And so that's the big thing to tie this all in is train bat speed, train it in the weight room, train it in med ball, train it in movements, train the engine, but then follow that up with some offset stuff to make sure your posture is in a good position to succeed.
Yeah, and your bat path, right? Like, is your swing complementary of what we need? Because if we're going to have good bat speed, I'd prefer to have good bat speed and hit line drives.
100%. And
again,
keep it fair. Keep it fair, right? Like that's the big thing is.
Yes. Yeah. And like a great bat speed ball hit it at a 40 launch.
Actually, it might, but
it might, but you get what I'm saying. Yeah, 60, whatever. But
if it's hit really, really hard, 40 gets out, 60 probably not.
Right.
And again, I think it's something that we're not anti-new. Like I feel like we've gotten on this podcast and we are new age people that have new age conversations. But as
I
we've been
wouldn't even
around
say we're
college
new age
coaches,
though. We're
yeah,
like a blend of
balance.
like both. Yeah, like you have
Well,
to
and
like
that's
we're good process baseball
yes.
people. How about that? Which is both old and new.
Exactly. And that was going to be my point was when we've getting around these college coaches, you see so much vitriol and hatred and animosity and old school people want you to do this and new school people want you to do this. The highest of the highs of this sport, the people that coach at the highest level understand it's a blend. They don't refuse Newt Force, but they don't ignore the things that they built their career off of. Wes Johnson was a high school coach before he ended up at DBU. Do you think he had technology to develop? No, he had old school thought that he built his pitching philosophies off of. He kept an open mind throughout his career. And when the opportunity to get to an SEC program and they said, here's force plates, here's an edger, here's Kinotrax biomechanics, here's everything you could have, he's going to take that and he's going to learn. He's going to implement it, but he's also not going to forget the foundation of what creates a good baseball player, right? And we have so much animosity on social media and things like that with these arguments about whether the radar guns are different, how hitting is so bad, and all these things like that. And it's just anybody who's actually in the sport does a phenomenal job of balancing the two and communicating the two to their players and the people we've been around. That's the most impressive thing, and that's changed how we have these conversations as well, which is why we felt like we needed to have these on a podcast platform to get it out to the masses. Because most of those conversations, as we mentioned, unnamed college coaches, right? We don't make these stories up. These are things like, hey, don't put this out there. I put my name to it, but this is what we believe and why we believe it.
Yeah, and the industry's changed. Like that's the thing. Like industries change and the way we look at things and when we gain new information, the way we go about things is different. But like baseball's still baseball. And that's the part where like just ignoring people who have a billion years of experience in the game is stupid. Now, if they
Yep.
go about it in a way that like,
In an arrogant
they're
way, like a lot of
an
them do.
arrogant
Yes.
and closed-minded way, like
Yep.
they're not helping themselves. And that's what, again, to your point, like all these coaches who have been in the game for forever that we go and get to sit down and talk to, like they understand, they're open-minded, every single one of
Mm-hmm.
them. I mean,
and what I was going to say is we haven't been around as many pro orgs, but it's so funny because they say that pro orgs don't want old school baseball people, right? They're not hiring players who played at a high level. And the funny thing to me, at least from my outside perspective, is it's not because they don't believe you know what you're talking about. It's because you're closed minded and you're only going to create negative culture within the org, which is going to then blend over to the players, and you're not creating a streamlined communication. There's a lot of guys who played at a high level that get a ton of opportunities to continue to coach. Most of the managers in the big leagues are former players. Those guys are more open-minded to adjust to the new age rather than these people on Twitter that want to sit here and argue and talk about how these nerds are ruining the sport. No, at the end of the day, it's if there's nerds out there that are refusing to accept that old school mentality and teachings worked, then they're wrong. But if there's also old school people that want to refuse that these technologies and new school teachings don't work as well, you're wrong too, and you're all wrong, and none of you should be hired by MLB orgs, quite frankly, because you're a negative, to the overall well-being of the game of baseball.
yep, it's a blend. It's all a blend.